We tend to think of forests as, a nice quiet place for a walk, maybe a pretty background for a picture. But what if I told you they're actually our planet's life support system? Today, we're going to dive into why forests are the absolute lifeline of our world and why that lifeline is seriously in danger.
Let's just start with this idea, because it's so simple but so powerful. When you really look at a forest, what do you see? It's so easy to just see a bunch of wood and leaves, right? But what's actually there is a living, breathing community.
And that's the big idea we're exploring. Forests aren't just sitting there. They're incredibly active, essential systems. They're the silent protectors of life, working constantly in the background, cleaning our air, regulating our climate, and supporting millions of species, including us.
All right, let's get into it, starting with probably the most powerful way to think about what forests really do for us.
You've probably heard this phrase a million times, but let's just pause on it for a second. What does it actually mean for a forest to be a lung? I mean, it's not just some nice poetry. It's a biological reality, and it's all powered by this incredible process called photosynthesis.
So check this out. Forests are basically giant planetary filters. They breathe in all the carbon dioxide from our cars, our factories, even our own breath, and in return, they breathe out the pure oxygen that pretty much all life on Earth needs to survive. It's the most important exchange happening on our planet, every single second of every single day.
And this really brings it home. It's not some abstract thing happening thousands of miles away. The very next breath you take, and the one after that, that's made possible by this global process. It's a gift, a literal gift.
But believe it or not, making the air we breathe, that's just the opening act. The work a forest does creates this whole world of benefits that touches every single part of our lives.
Millions. It's a number that's so huge it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. But that's how many different species call forests their home. From the tiniest insects to the biggest mammals, forests give them the food, shelter, and protection they need. They're the planet's biodiversity hotspots, and without them, countless creatures would just disappear.
On top of that, forests are our planet's great climate regulators. Seriously, think of them as giant natural air conditioners. Through a process called transpiration, a single big tree can release hundreds of gallons of water vapor into the air in just one day. That cools down the area and can even influence where it rains hundreds of miles away.
They're also our planet's natural shields. If you live near a big open plain, a forest can act like a wall against powerful winds. In a really dry area, it can literally be the fire break that saves homes. And even in our noisy world, they block out sound, giving us a little peace and quiet.
And their work goes even deeper, literally. The huge tangled root systems of a forest act like a giant net, holding the soil together. This is what prevents catastrophic landslides and stops the ground from washing away. At the same time, they act like a sponge, helping rainwater soak deep into the earth to refill the underground water sources we depend on.
And of course, they're the resources we use every day. We all see the wood in our furniture or the paper we use, but we might not think about the forest in our medicine cabinet. A huge number of our life-saving drugs, including some that fight cancer, came from compounds first discovered in forest plants. They're a living pharmacy.
And for many indigenous communities all around the world, this connection goes so much deeper. The forest isn't just a place to get stuff from. It's home. It provides everything: food, shelter, medicine, and it's completely woven into their culture and who they are. It is, quite simply, their way of life.
And finally, let's not forget what forests do for our own minds. They give us clean air and a quiet escape. And it's been proven that just spending time in these calm places can lower stress and give our mental well-being a major boost.
So, with all of these incredible, life-sustaining benefits, you have to ask a pretty serious question. If forests are this vital, what's the danger they're up against?
Well, the danger has a name, and it's a threat that we've created ourselves. It's called deforestation.
To put it simply, deforestation is just clearing out forests to make room for other things, like farms, cities, or roads. And it's happening at a terrifying speed. We are losing an area of forest about the size of a football field every single second.
And the consequences? It's like a domino effect of disasters. When you cut down forests, you release huge amounts of carbon, which speeds up climate change. You destroy the homes of all that wildlife we just talked about, and you leave the land vulnerable, which wears away the soil until nothing can grow there. It just unravels the very systems that keep us alive.
But look, this story doesn't have to end badly. Knowing the problem is the first step to becoming part of the solution. So this is our call to action.
So what can we actually do? Well, the solutions start small, and they're things that every single one of us can do. Planting a tree is an obvious one, but so is just trying to use less paper, because that lowers the demand to cut trees down in the first place. Reusing and recycling really does matter. So does supporting wildlife protection. And maybe the most important thing? We can spread awareness. We can make sure this conversation keeps going.
And this is so important to remember. No single person has to solve this alone. Just like a forest is made up of thousands of individual trees, a movement is made up of individual actions. Your choices, combined with the choices of millions of other people, that's how we can turn this thing around.
So let's bring it all back to this one fundamental truth. If you take away anything from this, let it be this. Forests aren't just some nice feature of our planet. They are absolutely 100% essential for our survival. And that leaves us with this final thought. Protecting our forests isn't really just about saving trees or animals. At the end of the day, it's about self-preservation. It's about protecting our own future and the future of every single generation that's going to come after us.